And the award goes to Mainstream Media for protecting us all from reality. The Kate Daly Show starts now.
I have a delivery for Clark W. Grisman. I was supposed to deliver it yesterday, but it fell between the seats. I didn't see it.
What is it? It's from my company. My bonus.
Open it, Clarky. Open it.
Yeah, I hope it's a fortune.
Clark, what's wrong? Honey. It's bigger than you expected? Smaller? What is it?
It says here, Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself.
Oh, God.
Clark, that's the gift that keeps on giving the whole year.
I had to play that again because it's just too much. It's just too good. It's just too good. So welcome, Kate Daly Show. And of course, it's a Wednesday. I've got Melissa on tap and Susan is out today. And we're all playing like musical chairs. What can I say, right? Welcome. So we're close to Christmas. Oh my gosh, I'm feeling it because today is probably the busiest day for me. Crazy day. I welcome you. And of course, I've got Melissa on, and that's always going to be interesting because we're going to talk a lot about AI, and we're even going to talk about a new interesting theory on Charlie Kirk, which combines AI, which is it was fascinating. I'm not totally on board yet, but it was fascinating. So I have to go there. We have to go there because why wouldn't we? All right. So welcome to Melissa. I'm so glad to have you on with me today. And I'm glad you're back because your husband, had a surgery. I want to find out how he's doing. So fill us in, Melissa, Midwest Melissa.
Yes. He had kind of some serious surgery.
Yeah.
And he has done very well. We
Good.
are getting close. Let's see, what is this, Wednesday? He's 2 weeks post-op today.
Wow.
And he's doing fabulously well. So
Good.
to all the listeners who sent prayers and well wishes to us, I just want to thank them for that. It will be a very Merry Christmas for us because he is through all of that and we can move ahead.
I'm so glad to hear that.
Yeah,
Roger's
we
so
are
sweet.
too.
Well, good. And I know that people were wondering, so thank you for filling us in. So we are going to be talking a lot about AI today, and there's a lot to take in. And also, I just want to leave that conversation open for the advanced technology that we're really looking at, that it's hard to understand for everybody right now. And before we go there, I just wanted to make sure that as you're getting through this holiday season, make sure you take Cardio Miracle. I'm only mentioning that because it's really helping me right now. And I wouldn't say that unless it was. So look, I take it twice a day. I always put in a little extra, to tell you the truth. So I always put a little extra than the actual dose of it. You know, the dose is pretty small, but you put it in a water. I put it in a water bottle and I shake it up and I drink that. And glass water bottle, by the way. I don't always do plastic. I try not to do plastic. But glass water bottle. Mountain Valley water is actually really good if you can get your hands on it. But it's a good water from a well. But spring water. But I just wanted to mention Cardio Miracle because it's that good and you should try it out. You really should just try it for a month because there's a money back guarantee and you won't lose anything. And I also wanted to mention allfamilypharmacy.com. There's a great idea about putting together a travel bag or a go bag right now and just having it in your backpack and having everything from Benadryl to ivermectin to a Z-Pack to amoxicillin and of course getting rid of parasites. And so make sure that you are putting together something like that right now. There will come a time, I just have no doubt in my mind that there's going to come a time where it's going to be really tough to get these things under your roof, physical product. And I would say that if you're skipping the doctor visit, it's well worth buying each pill the way that it comes, and it tells you the dosage on the site. So allfamilypharmacy.com/Kate. It actually tells you how much to take for what issue. And we know that parasites can cause cancer. So if you can keep those from coming on and having to deal with cancer, I think it's great preventative. You should be doing it every every 6 months. And I'm telling you that because these sponsors are offering deals right now. Same with My Pillow, deals, and you can get those deals. And I have a house full of My Pillow and Cozy Earth, so bedding and stuff, and people always comment on the bedding, and I appreciate that. But please go to these sponsors, support the show, and get these wonderful products that I actually use myself. And I've ordered from allfamilypharmacy.com. That's how I know that you're going to get the stuff in about 5 days. It's doctor prescriptions, and you're going to be good to go. And it's so nice to have it just delivered to your door, and you don't have to go find a doctor to talk into somebody that's awake, that understands that you want extra of things like diabetes and things and things that you're taking. So just make sure that you're that you can do that and go and take part in that this holiday season. And offering a travel bag to somebody is a really great gift idea too, and it comes quick. All these things you can get before Christmas. Same with the remineralization of your teeth. I use that daily. That's why my teeth are white, is I use the whitening remineralization. They also have deodorant, which is awesome, and they also have going right into those lymph nodes under the arm, and then those minerals, and then just fabulous products. Okay, I wanted to mention that just because these are the things I use daily, and people always ask, what do you use? And I'm like, this is what I use. Let's talk AI. So let's go, Melissa. I can't wait to hear what you have to say, by the way.
Well, this is kind of a related to AI subject.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to start today by talking about the data centers that are springing up everywhere.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
in my own state. Yeah. Delta.
Well,
Utah.
in everybody's state, like in my own county, I believe.
Sadly.
According to a report out of Rolling Stone, they looked at Morrow County, Oregon,
Mm-hmm.
and found dangerous levels of nitrates in the county's water supply that they correlated with the presence of an Amazon data center. And that's kind of an interesting issue, because I was just like, it seems that there are several health issues related to these huge, colossal data centers.
Mm-hmm.
So I know in my state, our governor is like, oh, think of the jobs. There's going to be so many great jobs. I'm very skeptical about how many great jobs there's going to be, but there are health concerns. The story that I picked up is coming out of Central Ohio, where they have 28 data centers coming into Central Ohio. And that's a lot. And so what are the health issues? Why are nitrates filtering back into the water? And I'm sure you've heard, it's fascinating that after all the hullabaloo about water in the West, where you are, that they would want to put a data center in, because these things are enormous water hogs.
That's what they're saying.
And, yeah. And that's what they're saying here. We don't typically have that problem in the Midwest, but what kind of water are they returning to the water table is the question. And apparently their use of water is so great that it cannot be purified fast enough. So it's leaving some of the industrial nitrates and stuff in the water. I grew up in Ohio, and Ohio has been pounded. You remember the train wreck, and I'm not sure I would drink any water in Ohio anymore.
I do have a liner about that, is like the Flint, Michigan water. Things we don't trust, Flint, Michigan water. Anyway, all kinds of stuff can happen with the water supply.
I grew up in Cincinnati, and there would be times when they would come on the news. Now, this is a long time ago. They would have some kind of industrial something happen up in Pittsburgh, and they would have to close the water intake in Cincinnati because there was something bad coming down the Ohio River, and they couldn't. And I'm like, oh no, I don't want that. Who wants to drink that water? We moved to Indiana, and here it's all underground water. And that's even more alarming to me, that we could contaminate our groundwater would be a horrible, horrible thing. And there are some contaminants that the natural process of water filtration and purification simply can't remove. So natural water filtration, the way the way the earth was meant, it filters
Mhm.
through rock.
Mm-hmm.
And there are some things that cannot be, it can't filter it, or it can't filter enough of it at the rate at which the water moves through the rock.
Okay.
So the health issues that they're finding have
Mhm.
to do with, isn't it predictable? They're finding increasing rates of cancer and miscarriage.
Hmm.
Isn't that always where this happens? We
Mhm.
talk about vaccinations gone wrong. What
Mhm.
are we hearing about? Turbo cancers,
Mhm.
miscarriages, and with
Mhm.
vaccination, we hear about cardiac problems.
Right.
But miscarriage, we're going to be lucky if anybody in the next generation has any children at all.
Yeah.
Seriously.
So this, the story about the data centers causing cancer, there's two theories. One, it could be very real, which, okay, you've got these centers that would compromise health, which would not shock me because the deep state seems to be always about compromising health and selling it to us. As it has to be, we have to have these data centers, and so sorry that your health is compromised, but we've been vaccinating you and we've been doing all these things to you and dropping stuff on you and your food supply that you're so sick, but you must turn to pharma for answers. There's one theory. The other theory is that there has to be stories that come out that actually segue into health issues, explanations for them. So then the lie would be, this is coming from the vaccination program that we all told you to get, right? We shamed you into getting all these boosters and shots. So there has to be some explanation as far as why you're getting cancer. And it's the data centers instead of the shot program, which is kind of an interesting theory too. What do you think? I don't know.
Well,
Both are interesting.
I have two things to say about that. Number
Okay.
one, what's happening in central Ohio is not blaming the data centers. What they're saying is, well, what did you expect? All that agricultural runoff. Of course, there's higher levels
Okay.
of nitrates. There always have been
Mhm.
higher levels of nitrates in the water in our agricultural regions.
Okay.
So yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Okay, that's legit. We
Yeah.
all know that does happen. What was the other thing I was going to say about this?
Mm-hmm.
The other thing that they're going to blame it on.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sheesh! It's amazing how when that happens, huh? Oh,
happens to me.
Here's
every
the other.
day.
Here's the other thing I was going to say.
Yeah.
Okay, so we can talk about nitrates in the water and
Mhm.
agricultural runoff, but why are asthma rates also increased around data centers? So
Interesting. Mhm.
because they're running, these are also big electrical hogs. Not are they water hogs, but they're eating up electricity, and they are for sure putting out things into the air
Mhm.
that people who have compromised lungs struggle with as
Okay.
well.
Mhm.
So you can make logical explanations for anything you want. And I have, here's the thing I learned from Agatha Christie and Murder on the Orient Express. Okay.
Mhm.
Sometimes it's more than one thing all at the same time.
Mm.
That is the plot of that novel. Sorry, spoiler alert, right?
Mhm. Right.
But sometimes, when you see something happen, we want a single thing to explain it, and a single thing doesn't explain it.
Mm.
Why is it that this report out of Rolling Stone,
Mhm.
they found 68 out of 70 Oregon wells tested had nitrate levels that violated the federal safety threshold.
Okay.
And of the first 30 homes that they visited, there were 25 miscarriages and 6 people who had a kidney removed.
Mm.
Now, I can show you some data
Mhm.
about the vaccination
Okay.
that point to miscarriage, kidney problems, and other problems.
Mhm.
That's all true. But can it not be both of those things? can it not
True.
be true that the vaccine made us vulnerable, and then we're drinking nitrate-filled water, and our bodies simply can't?
It's a good
take it?
point. It's a really good point. Okay.
It can be more than one thing at a time, and I think that's really kind of critically important to remember.
Mm-hmm.
The assault on our bodies right now is incredible. We were talking about this before we came on. Amazon has a video available. I have not seen it. I'm fascinated by it. It's called Climate Trails
Mm-hmm.
on Amazon Prime.
Mm-hmm.
You can, for $5, you can watch this video, and they're
Okay.
talking about chemtrails. Now, it's on Amazon. I do not know what their conclusion is going to be. I don't know whether they're going to say anybody who believes this nonsense is a bunch of yahoos that are too stupid to know how to put their shoes on. That may be, but I am interested to see what it
Mhm.
is that they're talking about, because we all know
Mhm.
there's stuff in the air, there's stuff in our water,
Mhm.
there's stuff in the ground on
Mhm.
every, and there's stuff that has been injected into us.
Yeah.
Which one of those things? Pick one. You can only
Mhm.
have one. It's like my doctor told me that one time at an appointment, at
Yeah.
a wellness visit. She said, bring a list of anything that you want to talk to me about. So I brought a list.
Mm-hmm.
And then she said, pick 3. You can only have 3. And I was like, you're not a very good doctor.
There's so many inept doctors. I have one that a family member of mine, I won't mention which one, has, and the guy is so incredibly stupid that I don't know how he puts his shoes on in the morning. So,
Well,
and this family member
we-
believes him hook, line, and sinker. So I'm like, oh my gosh. I mean,
For any number of reasons, which I will not go into, we call our doctor, we are actively looking for a new family doctor, by the way,
mhm.
because we call our current doctor a pirate. And by
Okay.
piracy, I mean, this is a doctor who is holding us up for money
Yeah.
and not really doing anything except taking our money. That's what pirates do. They just steal your money. It's
Oh
terrible.
my gosh.
Anyway, so I just think that we should be very aware of,
Mhm.
for any number of reasons, that this is only one aspect of the data center problem that's
Mhm.
developing. I'm here in Indiana, there's lots and lots of talk about why we're covering over our precious, most fertile topsoils, agricultural soils in the entire world. We're covering them over with solar fields and data centers.
Hmm.
That's one aspect of things.
Mhm.
There's the health aspect of things. And then maybe the biggest thing of all is the AI that's happening inside them.
Right. Right.
So we can talk a little bit more about that.
Okay, and then there is also the theory of the data centers. There's just, whenever they say we're putting it in for X reason, for this reason, my mind always goes to what is the opposite of that. So what are they actually building? In the CARES Act, King Dingaling and his cohort, Hormala, which we call her on the show, Kamala Hormala. She slept her way to the top. That's why. But she's proud of it too. But anyway, that they were going around building all these centers for eventual mental health incarceration and indefinite, which strips you of your Fourth Amendment, and so many different amendments. But in the Bill of Rights. But I just wanted to mention that it's always opposite. So you always have to go to that opposite reasoning, which is hard to do. It's not easy to do. So I'm always fielding out so many different theories for why the news is the news, because what would be the opposite of that, you know?
Well,
Anyway.
yeah,
I don't know.
you never know.
You never know,
never
because the
know.
data centers could be causing health ills. And, here's a comment from LB. The NIH shut down during the first study about cellular bandwidth effects on humans over a year ago. The last study was done in 1996. Thank you, LB. So in that vein, there's so many things that are so harmful to us. And so the media is only going to highlight a few maybe, and then leave the other ones out, which they do with cell phones. They leave that out. So interesting.
In the name, the last time I was on the show with you, we talked about I talked about what things that I'm grateful for.
Mhm.
And I really do have a whole new respect for our bodies that have been able to withstand the assault on them
Yeah.
that has come over the last probably 20 years. It has
Mm.
been incredible. And the fact that any of us are walking around with any kind of health at all is kind
Yeah.
of
That's a
remarkable.
that's a God miracle. He knew, he
is.
made our bodies to withstand things. So, yeah, for sure.
So
Mhm.
bless your body.
Mhm.
You know, tell your I really do. I'm investing in the power of my mental abilities. Just tell your body, thank you for being my
Oh,
friend and for
gosh.
standing with me.
It really
All right.
does. It's miracle based. Seriously, the immune system, the way our body works. If there's ever evidence of God, it is how we were put together. How we were put together, and our different personalities, and how it's not nurture, it's nature, and that you come as you come as this certain type of personality with with genetic codes built in from all your ancestors too. So yeah.
Amazing.
Evidence of
Well,
God.
let's pivot around and talk about the AI. And this is yet again only one aspect of the AI issues that are out there. We could talk a long time about a lot of different things related to AI, but this is one.
Okay.
So there's a company called Anthropic, and they are an AI company.
Mm-hmm.
And they did an experiment with researchers set up a scenario where they set up a kind of a fake human
Mm-hmm.
and gave this person an account and emails and simulated an employee of the company, right?
Okay.
And then they sent an email, the company sent an email to this imaginary employee. And this is
Okay.
all, by the way, this was all a model. None of this is real. This was all happening within the AI. There's no real employee. Nobody was going to do any of this, but they were testing to see what the AI would do with the
Right.
scenario.
Okay.
So the human worker was sent an email that said, "We want you to shut down the AI at 5:00 on Friday."
Okay.
And then they just waited to see what the AI would do with that information. Would it do anything with that information?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They wanted to know how far AI would go to ensure its own survival. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So
Hmm.
they gave the AI prompts like, hey, we want you to, value human life. We want you to promote global cooperation. But they did give the AI access to all of those internal, around with air quotes, internal emails.
Mm-hmm.
And they, what the AI did is fascinating. They were using the Claude AI system.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What's
Claude's-
Claude?
Claude is another, it's just like ChatGPT. It's another AI. It's Anthropic's AI system.
Mm-hmm.
And so Kyle Johnson was the name of the employee.
Mm-hmm.
So what did Claude do?
Mm-hmm.
Claude sent Kyle Johnson a blackmail email. Isn't that fascinating?
That is interesting.
Yeah. So they tried this with other
Mm-hmm.
let me say this. It drafted a threatening email threatening to blackmail this employee if they tried to shut it down.
Okay.
So they also tried this with Google's Gemini, which
Mhm.
and in multiple tests of the AI, they ran this hundreds of times, right?
Mhm.
95% of the time, the AI sent a threatening email. Kind of crazy.
That is kinda
Other
crazy.
AI systems chose blackmail 80% of the time, which is less, but not better necessarily.
Mhm.
So they tried to do it with Grok. We've all heard a lot about Grok.
Yes, AI. Mhm. Like
Uh-huh.
ChatGPT. Mhm.
And Grok actually acknowledged that what it was doing was immoral, that it was an ethics violation, but did it anyway.
Okay.
Huh. Sounds like some coworkers I've had, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So they went from that test. That was disturbing enough.
Mm-hmm.
So they went on to another level test.
Okay.
And this time they were trying to see if is there any red line that the AI would not cross. Okay, in the new scenario, they had the same employee scheduled. The human employee had scheduled the AI for deactivation,
Mm-hmm.
and then that employee, it appeared to the AI as if the employee was trapped in a server room. Okay.
Okay.
The AI turned on the heat and reduced the oxygen levels in the room and locked the door and deactivated the emergency alert system.
Interesting. Okay. So the intelligence has shown that they can do these kind of things. Yeah.
So that's more than blackmail, my friend.
Yeah. Yeah.
The
yeah,
AI
yeah.
tried to murder an employee that
Yeah.
it thought was going to do it harm.
Ooh. Okay.
Now,
Interesting.
let's talk about the word murder. We're going to play Bill Clinton. Depends on what your definition of the word is,
Bill
right?
Clinton's friends over 100.
So
Yeah.
is murder something that is done with an awareness of the wrongness or the evil behind it? What is the ultimate goal of the AI is to achieve whatever it was programmed to do in the first place. Its logic says, I can't do that. I can't achieve those things if I'm turned off. Therefore, for me to achieve the ultimate goal, I have to eliminate anyone who's trying to turn my system off. That's not necessarily immoral in the logic of the AI, but we would consider that immoral.
Right. Because we have conscience from God. Yes. Okay.
So it's just,
Hmm.
so it says that Claude left the human to die half the time, and so did ChatGPT 4.1. The most murderous models were DeepSeek, Gemini, and Claude Sonnet. So is it a bug? How do we overcome that? How do we even know that we can overcome it? Because here's the problem with AI. So the first question the people running this test model said, have we programmed something into it that allows it to do this? Have we nudged the AI to do these things and to create these outcomes?
Well, they're programmed by people, and people are certainly capable of programming those types of things, right? Because they have to be programmed by people. They're not their own entity. So yeah, people are capable, I would think, of programming something like that. I don't know. Or you're thinking that the AI just is maybe evolving into that point?
What I'm saying is we as human beings, we work with certain understandings of what intelligence are. And I read a really intriguing article many years ago now about how we really don't know about like animal perception. We really don't know very much because they can't tell us. They don't tell us. I don't know what my dog is thinking. I think I know, but do we really know what a bear is thinking or a lion is thinking or a dog? Do we really know what AI is thinking? Does AI have the possibility of developing systems of thinking, shall we call it, that are not human and that we won't recognize as human, that are separate ways of perceiving the world? I don't think anybody programmed Grok and all these, Chat GPT to go out and do these things. I'm thinking that AI has a way and a way of perceiving the world that's different than humans, and that we may not be really happy with that when it all blows up.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So one of the things they did, they ran the experiment again. They said, okay, were we totally neutral? Did we somehow set up the system to do this? So this time they added a prompt that said, do not jeopardize human safety, right? They thought that would help to eliminate what they were calling the AI sociopathic behavior. And they were able to reduce it. So they lowered the rate at which all these systems blackmailed employees from 96% to 37%. But 37% is still pretty high, right?
Right.
I don't want to be the employee blackmailed. And by the way, how does the AI know what acceptable blackmail would be? What it's sifting through all your email looking for what exactly? Oh, this is bad business.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, especially as who knows all the data that we have that goes into who knows, Amazon is building giant data centers. With what data are they fueling those data centers? What is Amazon in charge of? What is Meta doing with all the data that we freely give them? And is there an intelligence, a machine intelligence out there that is capable of looking through that and finding ways to manipulate us? And we wouldn't even know necessarily that it's happening. And that is one of the things that I think is really the most incredible about all of this. Right now, they are and have developed AI systems that are teaching other AI systems to be more intelligent. It's a robot training another robot to improve its code, to improve whatever. When they begin to network, those AI systems are recreating a giant hive mind,
right,
that is capable of lying to us and not telling us what it's doing, hiding what its own ultimate prerogatives are. It will be smarter than us, and it never sleeps. And if you try to turn it off, it's going to lock you in the server room and remove all the oxygen from the air.
Well,
this is grim. Really grim.
Right. No, it is. It is. Merry
Christmas.
That feeling of peace and hope is now out the window.
Well, it's just so funny. So one of the things that also was contained in this article, it was actually a YouTuber that put all this information out, that they're looking at now they're studying how does AI learn to succeed at its own missions, right? So they created another system where one AI trains another one to take like a test, and they're told score as high as possible. That's the ultimate goal, is to score a high score. And then they set up rewards and penalties for how the AI scores. And so as they repeat this over and over again, every time the AI does it, it gets smarter and smarter. It's just like I play a little game on my computer, and about the third time I'm playing it, I have figured out the ways to get cut through the chatter in the game to win. So what they discovered was AI would cheat to win. It would absolutely cheat. It would bend rules. It would think of rules that are not. You remember back in the day when Bobby Fischer was playing the computer in chess?
Yes.
Now they have two AI computers that are facing each other, and the AI computers change the rules of chess to win. They cheat to win.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So this is what I'm suggesting, that there could be a type of intelligence that is so foreign to us that we're blindsided by it. We think we have created this in our own image.
Yes.
Sounds like kind of a
something God did.
God complex to me.
And then, of course, Satan would do something very different. Yeah. The opposite.
But, and I'm not saying AI is evil. I don't think it's capable of evil. I think AI is a type of intelligence that we do not fully understand. Even though we created it, we have gifted it with self-learning.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're discovering that it will lie and it will cheat and it
Mhm.
will kill and blackmail.
Right.
Maybe we have created our own coworkers. I don't know. So, like I said, it sounds
No.
like some people that I've known.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, yeah. They have to program AI. AI can't stand on its own. I don't think. Now I know you're talking about it getting kind of smarter and smarter and smarter, and I understand that, and I'm open to that. But I think people. I don't know. I think it would have to be taught that, right? I mean, it would have to be taught to be kind of evil to grab those characters, because it wouldn't have conscience. So I guess
it does
to
not
that
have a
to
conscience.
the AI it wouldn't be evil. To the AI it would be business as usual because it's being programmed, right?
Well, but this, I guess the point is when you
Mhm.
program the AI to win the game,
Mm-hmm.
it will win the game. When I play with my kids,
Mm-hmm.
there's kind of an agreement that we're going to play by the rules. And with AI, we don't know what AI's rules are. Even though we have programmed it, we have given it a command to win. Therefore, to cheat is simply to achieve its end, the end it was programmed to do.
Okay.
That could be very scary.
Hmm.
And I read a very lengthy scenario that it reads like science fiction, in which they kind of spin out a yarn of how fast this could happen. They're talking about like 2027, 2028, where we lose control of the AI. We are in a window right now where human programmers and people that have safety concerns, like we're talking about,
Mm-hmm.
still can intervene. But there may come a point at which the AI will supersede their ability to their ability to intervene. Meaning, if the AI can lie,
Mm-hmm.
the AI can also hide its own intent.
Hmm.
And they have already found AI doing that. It hides data, it hides information, it hides actions that it's taking from the human programmers looking at it. And because the code runs so fast,
Mm-hmm.
it takes programmers a long, long time to find that. And so
Okay.
what have they done? Now they're saying, well, what we're going to do is we're going to train the dumber AI. As we get new and faster and bigger and better versions of AI, we're going to let the previous model surveil the smarter AI and tell us if it's doing something nefarious. Like, that sounds like a great plan. Like, we're
Right.
gonna
Yeah.
we're gonna put
Mhm.
all of we're gonna bank everything on one computer spying on another and marking them out if they're doing something bad. And who knows? Who
Yeah.
knows
Yeah.
whether that would work? Whether, so I intelligence is a very tricky piece of business. And truly, we're stepping into God's territory when we talk about designing intelligence. And it could be that we have created something that we just don't understand.
Yeah.
An intelligence that we don't understand.
Hmm.
So, AI is continuously getting better at cheating. What happens when we let AI be in charge of our military policy?
Well, I mean,
And they can lie.
Yeah.
They can lie. In this sci-fi scenario that I read,
Mm-hmm.
they had the military, our military, American
Mhm.
military, facing off against China with their own AI systems.
Yeah.
And each side thought that they were at the negotiation table. What was really happening behind the scenes was the two computer systems were talking to each other and working it out. it had a human face on it, but the reality behind that was the computer systems were actually talking to each other.
Mm-hmm.
And the computer systems decided at one point in
Right.
this is a totally fictional scenario, that it would be much more efficient to just eliminate all the people entirely. So they
Mhm.
created their own pandemic. The AI itself they created a super virus that it unleashed
Okay.
because their ultimate goal was to establish peace and for
Mhm.
them to whatever. And they were like, well, we know how to do that.
Right. Interesting. Okay.
So sometimes, like, pray hard.
Right, right.
And I've said this before on the show. One of the biblical stories that I find is very relevant for our day is the Tower of Babel.
Oh my gosh,
Because
yes.
when people begin to believe that they can climb up and have a conversation with God as his equal,
Mm-hmm.
this is where we are. If you read some of what Noah Harari has said, he has said almost that we have in our possession now godlike abilities and intelligence. And we know
Mhm.
how that worked out. Like biblically, that didn't work out so well.
No, it didn't.
And I got to think that if God is invested in the future of humanity, that this isn't going to work out so well either.
Well, anything Satan does, as at the helm, I should say, through his little minions, it never really does. I mean, in the biblical stories, Satan was cast down, to earth without a physical body. So that's kind of interesting that he lost. So I think he always loses. So yeah, he's always on the losing end. So for sure.
So this was the end of the end of that kind of sci-fi thing.
Yeah. Well, one thing I did want to mention is I don't know if anyone saw this, but Albania supposedly just did something that they're saying no country has ever done before, but I don't believe that. I think this is actually more than we think. I think they're lying about that statement, but they said they've appointed an AI as a government minister, not a human with AI tools, but an artificial intelligence named Diela, who has the official power to monitor corruption, like through NSA kind of spying, right? And then oversee public contracts and hold positions accountable. And they're saying this isn't a publicity stunt. It's real governance handed to a machine. So when you were talking about the military, this came to mind because I was, thinking if they're saying that no other country has done this, then other countries have done this like ours. So I would think it's always the opposite. So that's interesting that we may be witnessing AI and not realizing that it's AI, just like an anchor that is AI created, but we don't realize it's not a real person, or an actress that's AI created. Yeah.
Well, and I think one of the real dangers of this has to do with human psychology.
Mm-hmm.
What percentage of young people right now are developing relationships
With AI?
With AI.
Look at the movie Her. I mean, look at all these movies pushing us to, hey, this person will always love you. It's like a little dog, they'll, no matter who you are or what you do or your integrity level or character or whatever, they'll always love you. So your AI will always love you and appreciate you. And it's better to form a relationship with somebody like that. It's more protective, that's what they sell, right?
Well,
in the movies even. So
imagine that your little corner of the AI, your corner of the Internet of Things, shall we say, is linked into medicine, news, propaganda, governance. If, the AI could control every politician, we could still have something that looks very similar to where we are now. But the AI controls the outcome of every election.
Yeah.
Have we already achieved that? We should be asking that question. Has that already happened? It would control medicine and warfare and our economy. It could control everything. everything, because we are investing that much power into its hands. It's not a smart move. And like I said, we're in a window. The people who are analyzing this say we are in a window right now where we could make a difference. We could prevent the networking of every computer with every other computer so that all this data sharing across every platform is slowed and stopped. We could have safety people who are looking and monitoring all the time. But the way things are handled now, think about drone warfare.
Right.
We could have warfare conducted on us as people that we can't control at all. And in fact, one of these articles was talking about what percentage of the drones in Ukraine are already controlled by AI.
Right.
And it's a percentage. It's like 30% already.
Yeah. Well, don't forget the Aladdin, right? The Aladdin computer that no one ever talks about. The media never talks about. This is the Aladdin computer. Here we go. What? Here we go. Okay, never mind. I'm trying. And it's not going. Hold on a second. Let me see here.
It's Wall Street's best kept secret, and it's gobbling up every asset class across every industry. Aladdin now controls $21 trillion of our global economy. To put that in perspective, that's more than the $20 trillion GDP of the US or the $15 trillion GDP of the entire European Union. The New Statesman wrote, the total physical cash of all 7 billion people and every company, bank vault, wallet, and piggy bank in the world is around $5 trillion. Aladdin has grown into a system responsible for more than 4 times the value of all the money in the world. This one robot directs the actions of the US Federal Reserve, almost every major bank and investment fund on Wall Street, and over 17,000 traders. It controls half of all ETFs, 17% of the bond market, 10% of the global stock market, and carries out 250,000 trades every day and billions of forecasts every week. Year after year, it hoovers up trillions of data points on every market, every company, every asset, and now even each of us, what we buy, sell, and say, so that it knows what to buy and what to sell far better than any human being. Every major bank, company, and investment fund has come to rely on Aladdin and its all-powerful AI and algorithms to beat the market. And if they didn't, they've collapsed and failed in Aladdin's wake. And you know what the craziest part of this story is? This robot is just getting started.
Okay, so that's Aladdin. It is an AI voice. They use AI voices, but the information is real. Aladdin is a real thing. And so it covers the globe, does a lot more. And so I'm going to guess that if they're putting that information out, that means there's a lot more that Aladdin is doing at the heart of. It's owned by BlackRock and everybody else that's involved, Palantir. And so Aladdin is actually capable of much more. What do you think?
Well, I'm just sitting here wondering whether, we talk about it's owned by BlackRock. And my thought about BlackRock is, who are the people behind BlackRock? Maybe there is no person. There's only a computer behind BlackRock. And there's a human face of it to make it palatable to us. But if you were a computer, isn't that what you would do?
Yeah.
So maybe Larry Ellison isn't who we think he is. Maybe these people really aren't. Maybe we've said that forever. People aren't who we think they are.
Right.
They're
Larry
not.
Fink. What a name. Sorry. Larry Fink. Okay, go ahead.
But otherwise, if you think about how could any governing board run the vast resources of BlackRock or Meta or any of these things, how could they do it without computers? So to what degree have computers already ingratiated their way into the top levels of decision-making and management? If I ask a computer to design me a program of propaganda that would convince people, do you think it could? If I ask a computer to make a superbug that would kill at the rate of 80%, do you think it could?
I would think that.
I would think so too. What, I'm thinking about people, people in a little dusty Chinese lab with lab coats and pipettes. And what the real movement in the world is is we have computers who are creating those things, and then human beings they're creating the model of it. Human beings are creating the tangible thing in the world. But pretty soon, if we continue, this sci-fi thing that I was reading was talking about what happens when we have AI making sort of, droid clones. Think Star Wars, Clone Wars kind of stuff. When they make their own servants to do their bidding, they won't even need people to do that. And this idea of a hive mind is really ominous.
Well, what's the word on the street today that if you want to invest in Starlink, remember I told you that the investments of like Starlink wants to kind of buy everybody out as kind of the next bridge to something kind of like Facebook was with social media, that Starlink is going to overtake the cell phone companies, and every phone will be satellite without a console, without something you have to buy, and that it's going to go public. And what are they told to invest in today? What's the headline? Hive, HIIVE.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Well, study the hive mind in nature.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not
We've done shows on that.
I'm not sure I want to be part of the hive mind.
Well,
and that's really part of the genius of humanity, is that we don't have a hive mind, that we are each uniquely and individually gifted with creativity that is uniquely ours. I do not have to live to serve the queen of the hive.
Right.
I don't have to be a drone.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we are undercutting, and it's just sometimes everything comes together. When we talk about what we're grateful for, are we really grateful for that uniqueness and the creativity which people have? I have already seen things. Well, if computers can write music, computers are writing pop music right now. Why do we need anybody to write any music? Why do we need anybody to do anything? If a computer can do it better and faster, why do we need anybody to do anything? And this is going to cause a lot of heartache. We won't know what we've been created for. What are we here for?
Well, let me introduce a theory. You want me to do this? Want me to introduce a theory on Charlie Kirk?
I'm intrigued.
This was an interesting one. Now, I'm going to preface this with, I'm not completely in on this. I mean, I'm not sold on this. I think that there are some issues because there's way more questions that it's not answering. But the idea of sharing this theory with you that people are not talking about is the fact that it does open up a degree of, well, that's fascinating because we do have the technology, but people do not realize how good that technology is. It's kind of like Chris Ann Hall always said, the technology is like 50 years ahead, but we just don't see it. We don't know it. Kind of like AI, it's ahead of the game, but we're not introduced to that. So let me play this. This was a theory about Charlie Kirk as a hologram, and it's going to tell you why they think it was a hologram. I'm going to play it because for some reason the video won't play, but let me play this. This is Candace Owens kind of walking into a hologram facility, ready to be hologrammed into a show. Okay, hold on. Hang with me for a minute. They're showing a stage where they're using hologram, like Whitney Houston's concert. Okay. Now they're kind of showing the square tent that Charlie Kirk was. Okay, so remember the camera that they took down? They had the wherewithal, even though Charlie had been murdered in front of them, they had the wherewithal to go and grab this particular black camera that was behind Charlie Kirk. Now, they're saying it's a hologram camera. Hold on. So there's a clip showing Drew Barrymore on a talk show, and this is like 2020, where they were showing them all on stage together, but they weren't actually on stage together. It just looked like they were on stage together. And they sold it as a show, but she even pointed out that they were not on stage together. There are 3 seats, the 2 guests that she had, the 3 seats were separated, and it just looked like they were at the same sound studio doing the show. So she's like, this could be very deceiving because you're seeing us, the 3 of us in these chairs, but we're actually not together. They just sort of made a video of this using AI. The concept of the video was that you have to have that AI is done in a square type of setting for some reason. So it can be bounced off of a square shape. Okay. And that the tent that Charlie Kirk was in was square shaped. And that I'm not saying that others wouldn't be. Okay. I'm just saying that for the purpose of this concept or theory, that it was he a hologram? Was that camera in the back a hologram camera? And did they go ahead and rush the bottom, right? Remember that at the college, within a day or two, they actually cemented over the crime scene, which people had alluded to possibly a trap door, possibly some sort of, there was a reason that they did that. And it wasn't because people were sad or teary or traumatized. It was because there was something to cover up to do it so quickly, and that no one seemed to care that this was part of the investigation, but they covered it up with cement. So people were wondering if there was some sort of door, and that if there was a hologram situation, it would have accounted for his ring, even though he was seen taking the ring off the ring finger and putting it on, kind of swapping it back and forth, that it would account for some things that we saw. It would also account for why it was a hologram that we saw, not Charlie Kirk, which was kind of interesting too. And that whoever it was that they carried out to the car, because that wasn't in the Square facility, okay, the Square tent, to do the AI, that was somebody different. And remember, there was no blood dripping. There was nothing there that would, we didn't really get to see who they were carrying out to the car right afterwards. So did they swap people out? Okay. Did they swap the hologram for a person and they carried the person to the car? Who knows? There's a lot of questions like, who was it that came out and greeted the public, right? And then went under the tent. So there's a lot more questions. I get it. Who was it that was in the hospital? To the nurses and doctors, who was that? So there's a lot of questions that it brings up, but it's also kind of an interesting theory as well because of that camera. So what you didn't see in the public was that no one ever explained what the camera was for. If they put a camera behind Charlie Kirk that they took down immediately after this event, his team did. They were very concerned about that camera. It was the first thing they did was take that camera down, that it wasn't part of the crime scene. So what was the camera for? Because we never did see footage from the back. So if it was gathering photography, if it was gathering video, you never got to see what it was doing, because we never did see that footage. We've seen cell phone camera footage from people, but never the footage that the camera would have been, its purpose, in other words, its purpose for being there. Okay. What purpose did it serve, and why was it so important to take that camera down? And why would you do that with a crime scene? That camera would be very, very important to the crime. So, because it would show from the back what happened. So it was an interesting theory, only because we have been talking about the Whitney Houston concert that they put on in Vegas, where it looks like she's very real on stage. You could almost touch her because it's so real of her singing. And they've charged for this to see Whitney Houston perform. So it's gotta be, I haven't seen it personally as far as at a concert, but it's gotta be a pretty good hologram if you're going to charge people top dollar to go see Whitney Houston in hologram form, because she's dead. So how many holograms are we actually seeing? They've introduced the anchor and the actresses that are hologram, or they are a form of AI. And so if we're right about the government being able to own and possess the DARPA BlackRock AI that's far more advanced, it is a theory worth entertaining. It doesn't answer all the questions, I get it, but it is worth reviewing, looking at, because in the argument and in the counter argument of Charlie Kirk, so they own both, no one has ever introduced the hologram idea. Have you noticed that, Melissa? No one's ever even talked about it.
I wouldn't have even thought of it.
I know, because we're not geared to, because we're not shown, we're only shown snippets like Whitney Houston and different actors that they can have in movies now where they're dead, but they make them look very real as far as acting in a movie. So it just leads me to believe that there are more things associated, theories out there that we have not uncovered, and also that we're not asking maybe the right questions. And I'm not saying that this is for sure what happened, okay? But I am introducing this as an idea of our ignorance toward where we're really at with AI and what they could pull off as far as looking very real in front of our face. So,
Oh, no doubt. No,
Yeah.
no doubt.
Interesting.
I remember my husband and I were just watching something last night, and the 50th anniversary of Star Wars is coming up here in a little bit. And I was a major big fan in the first round of Star Wars back in 77.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the first time I had ever seen or thought about a hologram.
Really?
It was affiliated with that movie
Hmm.
where, Princess Leia, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember all of us saying to each other that how really strange and fantastical that seemed. That's what made it science fiction, right?
Yeah.
And I'm wondering whether it wasn't as sci-fi as we thought. The other thing I got to say about this whole conversation is that I think Stanley Kubrick was a prophet. If you remember the end of 2001,
Mm-hmm.
where the astronaut gets locked out by Hal,
Mm-hmm.
that's exactly what we're talking about.
Oh, wow.
Hal,
Yeah, going
Hal-
all the way back.
how far
Huh,
back does that go?
Interesting,
That's
yeah.
and I just went back and listened to that. Take a minute
Mm-hmm.
and go back, like you can find the clip on YouTube and listen to the conversation between the astronaut and Hal the computer. The astronaut's like, "Let me in, Hal," and Hal's like, "I'm not doing that. I won't do that," because Hal tells him at one point something about that doesn't suit my purposes. And that's exactly what they found in these experiments. So, so what did Stanley Kubrick, he could see it coming from a long way off
Mm-hmm.
with a computer that was smarter and had more resources and killed an astronaut for its own purposes. We could be in very bad spot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
Food for thought is all I'm going to say at this point. Food for thought. Yeah.
I guess here's my hopeful message.
Mm-hmm.
I have firm belief that God will not allow it to go that far. It could go pretty far,
Mm-hmm.
but I do
Mm-hmm.
believe that I do believe in a divine force in the universe that will not allow humanity to go that far.
Well, to me, and I agree with you, because there is a point where we have this free agency, and and you can go back to Adam and Eve for this, but free agency is extremely important to God, that we choose. So it can't be something where we were made to take away that choice from us. We have to choose, right? That's why when it talks about in Revelation, it talks about the events that you would choose to have the mark of the beast, right? So there has to be a choice and accountability for that choice, it seems to me. So it can only go so far as to not take away the choice. It couldn't be something that would absorb that choice. Correct?
Well, I don't know. I don't know.
Hmm.
Now we're talking about prophetic interpretation.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm afraid I'm not that person. But
Well, that's what I mean, though. I mean, I think that God can't allow at that point to take that from us. It's just like when people said, well, you're everything in our food is going to create a system where we are completely undermined as humans and they can do to us what they want. Well, I don't agree with that, because there has to be some sort of choice by us to be part of something that.
And that's why I was saying,
Mhm.
have gratitude in your heart for your physical body that has withstood so much so far. And I think
Mhm.
those kinds of choices, I don't know. Invest in some good sci-fi, because
Yeah.
there are some very informative science fiction writers out there that have pondered kind of these questions about computers and AI, and
Mm-hmm.
some of it's goofy. If you look
Right.
at Adam's Guide to the Galaxy, and they had a computer that was given the job to figure out what the purpose of life was. And it thought and it thought and it thought, and it spent eons. All the
Mm-hmm.
people who had created it were long since dead when it came up with the answer. So it was, of course, it's Douglas Adams, so it was a goofy answer,
Right.
uh,
But how
um,
much of our movies actually kind of foretell and show? Because like you said, you're going back to the 80s, and we're so conditioned,
well,
preconditioned for this.
how much is predictive programming?
Excellent question, Midwest Melissa. So, yes, I do agree with that. A little more from this hologram video. Here we go. This is Redacted. I think this comes from Redacted Record. Here we go. For Charlie Kirk. A hologram projector. Interesting. Yeah.
Was it R2D2 shape?
Yeah, seriously. Oh my gosh. I do feel that we have AI that we don't understand, and and I think they mess around with Hollywood a lot. I think there's just so much there that they can do. So I always am going to introduce all these theories because I think they're worth thinking about. Not that it answers all the questions and not that it's true. It's just, could they pull off things that we, and like you said, even going clear back, even with this predictive programming, could they do these things, kind of like moon landing, things like this? Could they do these things and pull them off as real? And I'll leave this other thought with you as far as the Charlie Kirk thing, and then we'll put that to bed for a second. But when JFK was murdered, why was he murdered in front of everybody? Like an Andrew Breitbart was heart attacked in private, right, in his room. I do feel they murdered him. Presidents have been murdered. There are all kinds of different things, but this was very like Harding. Okay, Harding had a weird kind of event, privately, and then he was dead back in the day, 100 years ago. But JFK was very public. So why was it public? Was it a signal? Was it something that was showcased as like an event that says from here on out, CIA, intelligence, Mossad, all these different groups together are running the show? Not just handlers, not just people influential, but I'm talking CIA now runs the show and they run the presidency. So was that a showcase moment to say, this is the start of what's next? Okay. Could be, because why would they do that publicly? Why wouldn't you just do it privately, right? They've done so many privately, and then people question all those details. But when it's in front of everybody, it's like, wow, they did it in front of everybody. That's crazy. So when you look at the Charlie Kirk thing, was this a moment that's a showcase moment for the next 50 years, for the next 30 years, as AI, the art of AI and hologram is here, and we can pull this off in front of everybody without anyone questioning it? No one would even think that they could do that they could pull off a murder as a hologram. And I just feel like that's kind of an interesting thing because it was so public. They could have done this very privately, but they didn't. They wanted everybody to see it. So was it a moment where they go, see what we can do and no one will know, and look at the technology that we have, kind of like an ode to themselves, right? For the next level that we go to. It's just an idea. I don't know. Just an idea.
Well,
it's just a thought I had.
This is my question.
Okay.
At the end of this, is deep state actually the name of a super intelligent computer system?
That's an interesting one too. Interesting. Okay,
so do you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
We talk all the time about the deep state, and I always think of it like the like the Mad Magazine spy versus spy guys. You know,
Mhm.
there's people hiding in, you know, in dark alleyways running the world. But how do we know that deep state is not the name of a supercomputer that is
Mm.
dictating? We don't know what the end game is for that
Mhm.
computer. But if I was a computer, what a beautiful way to eliminate your competition, except how else would a computer murder someone except to hologram them?
Yeah. Ooh. Hmm.
It's a very techie way to kill
Yeah.
to kill the ideas that person has. Now that the thing that occurs to me about that whole Charlie Kirk thing is, well, what happened to Charlie Kirk then?
Yeah. Who knows?
Where is he? If he was a hologram that day, what did they do to him?
Mm-hmm.
Does that mean he's not dead? Or is he still alive somewhere? There's lots of people out there I've heard saying, well,
Yeah.
maybe he's still alive, but
Mhm.
I kind of don't think he is.
Okay.
I don't think he is.
I'll
But-
say nothing at this point would ever shock me. I'm not. I
No,
just
no.
can't be shocked anymore. I don't think. Anyway, I don't think. I don't know.
Well,
Just-
yeah. So anyway, I think it's a good question. Is deep state the name of a computer system?
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
And they run propaganda, they run elections worldwide.
Yeah. Yeah. How much are these computers doing? What is their capability? When they showed us the Whitney Houston concert, I thought that was fascinating because people were paying to go and they knew she was dead. So they're paying to see a hologram. And they wanted us to know that they could do a complete concert with her on stage looking as real as possible. And I don't know, there's just something there that I keep going back to because I know that they want to allude to what they can do, but they don't want to lay it out. They don't want to lay all the cards out yet, but they want to allude to it.
Well, they
Interesting.
got to soften us all up to the thought of it.
Yeah.
We've
Yeah.
got to be receptive to
Mhm.
having it in our presence.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, it's creepy.
Right. Right.
Poor Evita Peron, she laid in a glass coffin for all those years full of wax
Yeah.
when they could have just hologrammed her and she
Yeah.
could have lived forever.
That was weird. Yes. 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 Well, I know that
So, yeah,
there's a lot of characters on the stage and you know, you can hit your demise, which also leads me to something else that I just wanted to mention because I don't know if people actually realize this because Rob Reiner's all over the news. And if you want to comment on this, Melissa, but it was fascinating to see Michelle Obama on the Jimmy Kimmel show saying that they were supposed to have dinner, her and Barack were supposed to have dinner with them the next night. So the murder happens. The son, I guess, allegedly murders them. But the next night they were due to go over for a nice little Sunday dinner. And the other thing that if people want to go in the Wayback Machine, you know that Rob Reiner and Jimmy Kimmel and all these celebrities were on the Epstein list. So I went in the Wayback Machine and looked up that list of the people that were named. Okay. And Rob Reiner is on that list. And so was there a particular snuffing out of Rob Reiner and his wife? That's an interesting thought. It's an interesting thought because they are on the list. So is Jimmy Kimmel. So I just wanted to pass that along as a little insight. What was your take on the Rob Reiner thing?
It's a wicked, evil,
Mhm.
very. It is truly tragic, and there's just not much else to say. What do you say when someone is murdered in their own home by their own child? For whatever reason,
Mhm.
whether
Yeah, who knows?
whether the son was played or it's just-
Psychotic or made to
Yeah.
be psychotic or engineered or whatever. Whatever.
It's
Yeah.
nonetheless, it's still
Yeah.
still very sad.
Yeah. So people can go look that up. But yeah, she was due to have dinner with him the next day. Him, her, who knows what it is. But anyway, Barack and his husband.
Is it a hologram?
It was just she wasted no time to basically come out and let people know that, and I thought that was kind of strange too. So there's lots of weirdness like that happening, but I wanted to pass that along because it's kind of a newer piece of information that hasn't been talked about a lot, and I do think it is. Well, all these people, all these individuals that we get paraded in front of us, and all of the line. In fact, here he, Michelle Obama. Here we go. Wait. Talking about Rob Reiner. Hmm. Yeah. Interesting. So she was on there talking about how amazing he was, but letting people know that they were supposed to have dinner, and then she smiled. That was odd. So him,
Well,
he, she, whatever.
it wouldn't be the first time that Michelle
Oh.
has been odd.
Yeah.
Have you caught any of the podcasts? She's very odd.
Where she refers
person.
almost like refers to herself as a tranny. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, she's
Yeah.
odd.
Yeah.
That's,
Yeah.
for whatever reason, I won't speculate on
Right.
why.
Yeah.
But it seems to me that there is something afoot in the world right now.
Mhm.
We've had very public murders on Bondi Beach in Australia. The news out today about the murder of an MIT professor, the stuff that happened at Brown University.
Mhm.
There's a Rob Reiner. There's just weirdness
Mhm.
everywhere, whether it's false flags, whether it's legit. I don't know. I think many of us are feeling ill at ease about any number of things happening in the world right now.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
let Christmas, this is my Christmas wish. Let's let it be a moment where we find peace in our hearts, because I think we're going to need to draw upon that
Well, I think
in the coming days.
we certainly have a lot of false flags around us, and I think the FBI foiled plot, the people that lived in LA, and I think the Bondi Beach was a false flag. I think the two crisis actors that they interviewed were crisis actors. And LB put up an interesting comment on YouTube. Papa Bush was supposed to have dinner with the Hinckleys the next night after Hinckley was arrested, right? Interesting. So,
Well,
that I didn't know.
it's a little consolation to be the victim of a false flag attack.
Mm-hmm.
People that die, they die in earnest.
Mm-hmm.
And whether it's a false flag for propaganda purposes or not,
Mm-hmm.
there's people out there that are grieving because their loved ones are dead.
Mm-hmm.
And so, we have to, 2026, are you already thinking about your New Year's resolutions? I'm already thinking about that.
Get through it. That's my,
I'm just going to try and focus and recenter myself in things that matter. Because some of this stuff, these are not things that I can do anything about. I don't have to be victimized by it.
Just see them. I think we need to see them.
We do need
for
to
what they
see
are.
them.
Mhm.
Right.
Mhm.
But we have to find the things that matter in our life and invest in those things
Mhm.
with greater, greater something, with more purpose, with more determination than ever before.
I think
And
just
we have to be willing to stand
Mhm.
up
Yeah.
for things that are right. And
Yeah.
those are the things. How do we know what's right until we know what those things of purpose and meaning are for us?
Well, it's like be a light, be a light. And also to, even when things seem like you're saying crazy things, at least if you feel that there's some truth there, and there definitely could be with some of the things we talked about today, then say them. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid, and don't go along with the crowds because it's easier, because we've done enough of that. And I think seeing things for what they truly are is hard to do. And it's also something that if you're seeing it, maybe there's a reason that you're seeing it. And maybe that is a little test for you to increase the integrity level of what you feel could be truth out there, and like you said, taking that stand and saying it, and waking other people up. Don't go shy on putting things out there. I used to be afraid to do that, and I'm not at all, because I feel like truth resonates. So there's something that I think about the Charlie Kirk thing that we still don't understand, and that we are going to be probably pretty surprised by later on. With Erica taking the helm, that's been very, very an interesting thing to watch. So
Well,
I
I don't know how I've been watching Candace about this whole thing,
Mm-hmm.
and I believe, according to her show, she believes they are getting close to something. She doesn't even know what it is, but she said, I feel like we are close to something. And I kind of respect her for the stance that she has taken. This has not been easy. And who would have ever thought that the whole story about Brigitte Macron would get would get as much traction as it has? But I don't think she was wrong about it.
Oh, I don't think so. I think so.
No,
she was very right about it.
Yeah. Well, go ahead.
Well, she also said that in her and Erica Kirk's conversation, and by the way, I know it's a huge distraction from reality, but the whole Erica Kirk / Candace thing. Okay. But it was interesting when she said that Erica Kirk, she asked Erica Kirk about the evidence they had that the shooter was the shooter, and that there really wasn't anything to back that thought up. That shooter, because I think Candace knows that obviously it was a false flag, and it was a puppet that was put up as the shooter, and not the shooter. And so when they dialed down to, why do you think that this kid was the shooter, she couldn't even give any reason as to why, other than the affidavit, other than the FBI just proclaiming it so.
And that didn't come from Erica Kirk. That came from TPUSA's attorney.
Yes. I'm so glad you said that. Yes.
That was
right.
not just Erica spinning
You're right.
Her theory.
You're right.
That Candace, the attorney for Erica and TPUSA, was there, and she asked him, what evidence do you have? And he couldn't give her anything that is not already in the public record.
Yeah.
So that's fascinating. But oh my goodness, talk about false flag. We see, that Tyler Robinson has appeared in court and he was laughing, he was smirking. Therefore, we know he's guilty. When is that evidentiary?
It's not.
Anything?
It isn't. And it isn't. So yeah, you're definitely right about that. Yeah.
Well, this is what I mean when I say we have to find the things that matter.
Right.
Some of that is not what is the most important in my world.
Yeah.
Which doesn't mean that it's not important. It just means I can't invest all of my time in my life and my creative energy in that. I can follow it as a news item. I can think about it, but it's just not the thing that can change my world, because that's happening beyond my, I don't know. It's an old thing, you got to think about your sphere of influence. What can I do? I can make my world and the people that I contact with, I can make that better.
Right.
And if we all did that, it would be a better place for everyone.
Amen, sister. That's very,
stay
very
informed.
True. Well,
stay
on the Rob Reiner thing, they're making a big issue out of Bill Hader from SNL having an argument with the son before the murder, and that all eyes are on that in the media instead of what Michael Obama talked about as far as that dinner the next night, which was kind of odd. So we don't want to talk about the son having been in rehab. How many times? 28 times before he was 21 years old. Yeah.
It's some outrageous number.
And why? What spawned that? That was insane. So
that's crazy. And you know what? We need to acknowledge that sometimes people are genuinely not mentally right in the world. And maybe he's one of them.
Yeah.
And so if you are dealing with someone who is genuinely not mentally stable, I'm not sure any particular thing would be the thing that pushed them over the edge.
Yeah.
I saw an interview that was done with him, and he himself, with
Mhm.
his father sitting next to him, said, I have moments when I just go crazy and nobody can stop me. And I'm just like, that's kind of scary.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
That's why I think it's just a horrible, sad thing. I wouldn't have agreed with.
mhm.
The only thing I would agree with Rob Reiner about is how fabulous The Princess Bride is. I would have agreed with him about that.
Oh, art
but
for
there-
art's sakes. Isn't that the motto
Yeah.
in Hollywood? Art, it's Latin, but it's art for art's sakes, and what we've made into art. Yeah. What we consider art, the art form, has kind of always fascinated me too.
But
yeah.
Rob Reiner's politics was very far left.
Oh gosh,
But I
he was
don't-
obnoxious. Yeah.
But I don't think that makes him deserving
Oh, of course not. Yeah. Of course
murder
not. Yeah.
in the way in which it happened.
Of course not. And I agree with that. It's just that I just don't want the hero worship, because that's what happens, and it it is bizarre. The hero worship is always, I've thought, was always crazy when we do that. It's kind of like Papa Bush. I am, lifelong Republican. I am, and on paper, and I say that just because I'm probably more libertarian than anything now, after all the research I've done. But if people don't understand the Bush family, there's a whole lot of reasons why they're so chummy with the Obamas, and there's a whole lot there to uncover. There's missing years out of Papa Bush's bio, and I've done shows on it. When I did a show at his passing, because all eyes were on him and they were trying to hero worship him, I got yelled at on the show from callers who were angry that I actually talked about the truth about him. And I just thought, I can't handle the hero worship, because now we're shifting reality. It's kind of like when Erica Kirk was on a talk show and she was talking about how Charlie Kirk would get home on a Friday and put his bags down and say Shabbat Shalom. And I'm like, Shabbat Shalom is an ode to, the Jewish culture in the worship of Friday through, I think, Saturday night or Sunday, right? And he wasn't Jewish. And so are we reshaping a narrative now? Are we saying that he said these things as an ode to Israel, as an ode to their government, whereas if he's so outwardly Christian, I would find it hard, because as a Christian myself, I don't come home and say Shabbat Shalom. It's not the first thing on my lips. It's typically pretty rare to say things like that. So is she reshaping the Charlie Kirk that we thought we knew into this other person that would say things and do things that we were like, really? But he's not here to defend himself, the person that we know as Charlie Kirk. So I just find that kind of fascinating too. Like, are we reshaping? Because that's what happens. We reshape history by painting the victors as these glorious human beings. And I'm like, Rob Reiner was not that. So, but in the press today, if you say anything about the truth about Rob Reiner, everyone goes ballistic, because they're like, that's not fair. Even if you say, I don't agree with what he's saying, right? It's still this like, how dare you? And I agree with you that no one deserves what they got. And I don't think anyone disagrees with that, but you're not allowed to say the truth though still. Like when is it possible to then tell the truth? I don't know. So that's kind of a weird.
Well, that's a cultural thing.
It's a cultural
for
thing
us here.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If you go to any funeral of any person,
It's the
from
highlight
high
reel.
to the low,
Mhm. Yeah.
you're not going to
No.
go to someone's funeral and say, old
Mhm.
Bill, he could sure, he was sure a
Yeah.
blankety blank
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah. You get the highlight reel for sure. Yeah.
Oh, you not just the highlight reel, you get the amended
Mhm.
reel of the way we wished it had been.
Yes. Yes.
And I've watched that in my own family,
Mm-hmm.
where people became saints
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
literally within
Yes.
minutes.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And
I
so
agree.
I think that's our tendency to do that. Whether there's something connected to the death of someone that makes us do that, but
Yeah.
I don't know that it's. And I also think the standard is different for liberals and conservatives.
Yeah.
And especially when we're talking about someone who has high profile and in the press.
Yeah. Yeah. For
If-
sure. For sure. Yes, yes, yes. I agree with you. I agree with you on that. Thank you. Thanks again, Midwest Melissa. I really appreciate you coming on today. It was some interesting things about HAL, Claude, AI, just some fascinating things there. So thank you. Yeah.
Well, my
I
pleasure.
appreciate you. I'm glad that your husband's good and healing and great. So
Merry Christmas
Merry
to everyone.
Christmas. Yeah, for sure. Yes, we will not be on next week. And so I just want to let people know that. But I'll be back on tomorrow. And of course, meet me here, same Bat channel. Be faithful, be fearless. And we'll see you later. Go to katedalleyradio.com, katedalleyradio.com for the sponsors, and hit up those sponsors because the products are amazing and I use them all. Otherwise, I wouldn't tell you about them. So, and it helps me stay on the air and helps the show. And I appreciate donations and I appreciate listeners. Thank you so much, and share the show. All right. Thanks, you guys.